Yeah, basically today's topics now start with multi-table insert. And this was a very simple thing, create table with select. Some creating views. Just to know that you have a feature like creating the view, just create a simple view. Right, and the probably the primary one is the UDFs, HiveUDFs. In multi-table insert, basically, even in SQL Server, even I think Oracle, we don't have something like this. Now, what you can say is, whatever the source table, right? Basically, you give the source table, and you can write multiple statements after once you selected it. No, it's not here. Basically, we don't mention the table name down, right? Rather, you mention the table name at the top from employee. After that, you can write any number of statements that refers to table. Now, if it's the syntax, basically you mention the table name here from employee, whatever, part static one, right? We are inserting without selecting the source table. Now, insert into target table and select without from class. Now select whatever the column list, it it refers to this from table, whatever you have mentioned at the top, and then you can write any number of insert statements. So this is something that's not available in SQL Server. It is something like CTEs where you can do it, but not like this, where we have a table at the top and you can write any number of insert statements, any number of statements. Right, the advantage of doing this is because Hive is high level language again on top of MapReduce, and then the performance will be increased when you say from employee whatever, because it has to scan the entire table. It does scan the entire table once, and then it executes all the statements against this source table, right? So probably we'll do a small demo on this multi-table insert. Right? When if you go to 3D, right, in HiveQL, you can start. So you can, yeah, basically you can start with a from class. After that, you can write any number of insert statements. So multiple insert is more efficient than probably multiple insert statement, because the source table needs to be scanned only once to produce multiple outputs. That's what I've discussed. The advantage of this is, even you write a multiple insert statement against the source table, the scan will happen only once. Right? We will do a small demo, probably create a couple of tables and insert from the source table into these two tables. Right? This is pretty simple. So any questions? I think this is pretty simple. And let's move on to next thing. Create table with select. Right? I think basically, in SQL Server and Oracle, what you have is a select star into. Right? Select star into is, when you want to insert that data from one table to other table without creating a table, right? What you can do is, in SQL Server, I think even Oracle should support. Right? Say select star into table, no, new target table, new table from existing table. what it does is you get the copy of this table with all the data. Now basically we need not create the table, right? Just we during the data insert, during the insert statement itself, we will also create a table. This is pretty useful, at least during development. If at all you want to take a copy of the all data in the existing table, what you can do is select star into new table from any existing table. Here, new table doesn't exist, right? Basically, it does create a table for you, and also insert data. Yeah, I mean in SQL Server this is very important. That's why I've mentioned a way to create a table from a select statement. So in Hive, what you will do is this is a create table. Whatever the table name as, right? You can basically insert into this table. Basically, what it does is it creates the table as well as insert the data. Whatever the data in the source table, it will be inserted into target table, right? If you see, if you go back to theory, it's very often used to store output or entire table into a new table. New table column definition is derived from the columns retrieved by the select class. In our below example, what have two columns named as column 1 and column 2, whose types are same as the one in the source table, right? And this is similar to, as I mentioned before, select star into new table from already existing table in RDBMS. Let's say here what I want is, I want to create a new table, right, from the existing table. The structure of the new table should be same as the existing table, right? And I don't want any data to be inserted. Of course, you can create a table using create statement, but without using a create statement, just copy the structure from the existing table to the new table.
Select all into new table from existing table.
No, basically what you can do is where 1 is equal to 2. But in this
Okay.
case, what it does is just create a structure, right, without any data. Right? And this is useful for to take the backup of the table. So yeah, I think you've covered basically already covered multi-table insert and discovered what create table select, also covered. So let's move on to I'm muting everybody. So here let's move on to simple view. It's also a very simple statement, right? But you should know, feature, creating a view. Move on to users. Right? This is also pretty simple, just similar to what our SQL Server or Oracle. Just to say, create view, whatever the view name, as select from column list from the existing table. Right? It's similar to what you do in any RDBMS database. Right? Just I want to mention you have a feature of creating a view similar to what you have in RDBMS. So let's move on to UDFs now. And again, UDFs and HiveUL as many functions out of the box. Right? If you want to create your own function that is not available out of box from Hive, then you have to write your own custom UDFs. Right? Similar to what you do in Pig, here also we have to extend some classes and implement methods. Right? And now Here for a simple API, right, where you have a simple data types like int-writable, wrong-writable, in that case we have to extend org.apache.hive sorry org.apache.hadoop.hive.ul.executf, and in case you are using complex data types, and then you have to um, extend a generic UDF. Right? So this is the difference, right? So basically there are two different classes you have to extend when the data types are like intrinsic data types, what we call in Java. Uh, but in case of MapReduce, if it's something like int-writable, long-writable, double-writable, we have to extend UDF. If in case of complex data types, you have to extend generic UDF. Uh, we can create different types of UDFs, right? The normal UDFs, basically this operates at a function at a row level. On an example, the uppercase, right? And substring, in string. What it does is it operates on a different columns within a single row and returns again a single value. It's basically what we call a scalar functions in case of SQL Server. Right? It operates on a row and gives one value back. Upper string, it takes the input and converts into upper and return back the field value. Similarly, in string, substring, those things, it operates in a row and return one value back. User-defined table-valued functions, right? Even we have this feature even in case of SQL Server, and it operates on a row-wise. But what it does is it returns a multiple rows of output. And this will be used in case of SQL Server in the from class. Let's say in the from class that you can call a function that returns a set of rows, which is nothing but a table. Right? This is basically user-defined table-valued functions. Right? User-defined aggregate functions. This is not available in SQL Server, even in other RDBMS database. Right? It's basically what it does is it operates on a set of rows and return a single value. Basically, the example of aggregate functions out of box from Hive or any of the RDBMS database is something like max, sum, average. What it does is when you say sum based on group by class, it operates on a set of rows and return a single value back. When you say sum group by some employee, customer rather, it takes all the records against the customer, nothing but it takes the input as a set of records and it sum all the amount against those set of records and return one value back. So this is basically aggregate functions. Out of box from SQL Server or Hive is basically sum, max, min, average, right? So what it does is basically it operates on set of rows and returns one row back or one value back. Right? And probably we'll cover the UDFs and we'll also record it, probably user defined table valued functions as well. But in the class, we will cover this other functions you can practice at home, but we will record other things and probably put it in YouTube. Writing custom functions in Hive. We have to extend UDF, right, and implement method evaluate. We have to implement the method evaluate, right? What I've done in Pick is we've extended filter func and eval func and override the method exec. In this case, we will override the method evaluate and extends UDF class. And here one important thing is override method evaluated, and we can have, you can overload this evaluate function, right? We can overload evaluate function. So when calling, right, when calling it based on your input, based on input, what appropriate function will be called. Similar to function overloading in Java, appropriate function. Let's go to the source code. So as I've discussed, we have to extend UDF. Right? We have to extend UDF and override the method evaluate. So the input is any of the map reduce input, text writable, long writable. In my number, here I've written a very simple function converting your input text into basically uppercase. Right? And as I mentioned, you can overload this evaluate function as well. So I have overloaded evaluate function. First function accepts one argument, right? And the second function accepts two arguments. It concatenates and give it back to you. Probably this is not the appropriate input arguments for the upper, but just I want to demonstrate here, we can overload the evaluate functions, right? I know we don't have an upper that takes two arguments, but here I've written an upper that takes two arguments, and here it's more like concatenate. I'm concatenating both and returning back. So, but what I want to demonstrate here is we can overload evaluate function. So based on how you call this function, the appropriate evaluate version of the function will be called, right? So it's basically extending UTF and overriding evaluate function. And this takes text as an input and return text as an output. It's a scalar function, similar to scalar function in RDB. Right? So let me, and if you go this thing, form.xml, but everything is with you, but just, I think this is something I've added new, right? Your version already, I think it has only one. As I want to demonstrate overloading also, I have added this function very recently. One more function with different input arguments. And these are the Hive part to add this form entries, Hive exit. So let's build it. Anyhow, it's with you. So run as. So copy the file there. Copy the jar file. Okay, let me start the services as well. And build succeeds. This is the location. Let me get the location for this one. So run as Metastore. Right, we have copied the file as well. Right? And the step is once you have done that, to go back to steps here, we build the jars, and from the Hive part we have to add the jar file, add jar from the Hive prompt, and then we have to create a temporary function, right, pointing to this class. Then we can call the toUpper function. Now we are giving a name, basically a temporary function name, toUpper, for whatever the function we have written using the Java, our custom UDF function. Then future we can refer this function using this name, whatever the temporary name you have given for our function within the jar file. Right? So next step is right, build jar, add jar file in Hive Pro. Let me start Hive. Probably come out of HDFS. Let me add jar, add. Let's move the database. Show databases. I think our database for this class is Hadoop class 2. Hadoop class 2. Class 2. And add jar home HD user. Just want to copy from here. Right, it's got added. You can say list jar also to check whether this jar had added successfully. No, this jar has been added. Right, and the next step is we create a temporary function. Right, create. Let me check the syntax. Yeah, we create a temporary function. Create let's say we call Hive upper as, so what is our fully qualified name? Our fully qualified name Hive examples dot Hive UDF example dot Hive upper. Hive examples dot Hive UDF example dot Hive upper. So not found. Hive UDF, Hive example, Hive upper UDF example, Hive examples dot Hive UDF example. Hive UDF, Hive A is missing here. Hive examples. I would if example. Hopefully it should work now. Yeah, it's added. Yeah.
Creating this temporary function name, so can we, using fully qualified path, can we invoke those functions then?
No, no, I think in Hive
No.
it's different from Pit. In Hive, probably have to create a temporary
Okay.
function name and use
Oh,
this
okay.
temporary function name. In this case, what you have done is basically create just I'm repeating because I forgot to record this. Create temporary function Hive hopper as fully qualified name. So going forward, I will refer using with my function name probably like for a more meaningful name, Hive upper, rather using the complete qualified name of the class.
Okay. Okay. Got you, Venkat. Thanks.
Okay, yeah. So,
Venkat, when we come out
yeah.
of,
Sorry, Aparna, can you repeat, please?
yeah, Venkat, I have a question. If we
Yeah.
come out of, yeah, if we come out of this hive and we close this session, then the temporary function which we created will go away, right?
Yes, it will go away. Correct, it will go away. It will go
And
away.
every time we log in, is it like every time we log in, we have to add this jar file to Hive? And is it like a one-time activity, or every time we have a new session, like we have to add the jar and then create a temporary function?
Yeah, as temporary functions you have to create, but adding jar, this can be moved into a different place called, probably I will cover when you are covering the HBase Hive integration. Now you can change it in such a way that adding jar is just one-time activity. You have to keep it in a separate config files, but we have to create these temporary functions. Yeah, but adding jars can be
So
automated.
as of now, whatever we have done, so is it a one-time activity or again we have to do it as of now?
No, as of now, it's not one time. Every time you have to do it because I come out, it's
Acha,
yeah, the jar is not there. But you can automate this. Adding jar, it can be done. Yeah.
acha, okay.
Even for when you cover Hive HBase integration, we have to add some of the HBase jars before referring to a table in HBase. Now that basically that can be added to a config file so that we need not add the jars manually every time. Now, even this is in the appropriate path location, class path, Hive can pick it from there, right? But you have to give a meaningful name, right? Bobby, that is just to use a meaningful name rather complete qualified name of the class. Yeah. But adding jars that can be automated.
Thanks, Venkat.
It's a config files, yeah. So yeah, I'm muting everybody again because still it's not clear when I mute. Yeah, let's show tables. Let me go back and see. Let's show tables. Now probably we'll use one of the table to call our upper function. Let's say describe. Let's say employee. Select ename, comma. What is our function? What I have given? Hive upper. Right? We give our argument is only one argument. Right? Text. It returns text back. Yeah, see here, I have converted everything into uppercase. Again, as I said, no, this is not the right way to do it. Upper function don't take two arguments. Just to demonstrate, I've added this. Let's say one more argument. Let's say converted to upper. Here we are passing two arguments. First argument is the employee name. Second argument is some ad hoc text I'm passing converted to upper. So what the implementation we have written is basically to concatenate the argument number one and argument number two and return it back. And this time this will call this function because we are calling with two arguments. And what I am doing here is I am adding the argument 1 value, argument 2 value separated by a column. Right? The same thing should be displayed in our output. Right? See Niranjan, whatever, it's in basically the uppercase column converted to upper. Right? This is how we can overload this evaluate function as well, and based on how you call this function, the appropriate function will be called, and this is similar to function overloading in Java. So any questions?
Why is the skill covered coming in between? Is it like skill covered, kill job? Yeah.
Command. I think just they are logging it. It function. Definitely the job will not be killed. The way we can kill it. Job kill this. Just they are logging. It's a part of logging. It should come for every MapReduce job. I think when you run it. And one more thing, no, just one more thing. Just I want to mention here. Remember, basically how the Hive is working is. Basically what you give is we will give when you are writing any MapReduce program, you will give the input directory and output directory, right? So in the output directory, usually if the output directory already exists, it will give an error because it doesn't want to overwrite. It will give an error, and our program will fail, right? But there's an option when you write the code. If the output directory exists, you can delete the directory and overwrite whatever the output of the current program. Basically what Hive does is it deletes it, because what I have done is when I'm working with the local path, I have given my output directory unfortunately as home HD user. So when I gave home HD user as my output directory, it removed all the files, which is the home directory for HD users, and overwritten with the output of the program. My VM is completely completely overwritten with the output, all the files in home HD user. So should be very careful, right? Only when you are dealing with local in path, right? You know what I'm trying to say, everybody?
Yeah, what you mean, sir?
Yeah. Yeah. Be careful when you are doing a local in
Can
path.
you? I'm just saying, can you repeat once again?
Now, when you write a MapReduce program, right, what are the input and the output directory, right?
Yeah.
If the output directory already exists, it will complain and your program will fail.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in some cases, even in our MapReduce program, in few cases, what I have done is, if the output directory exists, just delete the directory and go ahead and put the output of the program into the directory that already exists. It also can be done. You can do it programmatically. If the directory exists, just delete it and put my output of my job into that directory. That's option 2, right? Is it clear so far, Aparna?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
Yeah. So what Hive is doing is, if the directory already exists, it is deleting it. So it doesn't complain that
Automatic.
directory already exists. So what I have done is, unfortunately, I have given home HD user as my output directory. So the program executed, but it killed everything. It deleted all my files in home HD user. Then I have to again create my VM because it has deleted all the files, which is the core for our VM home HD user, where you have installed everything, Hadoop, HBase, whatever, Hive and everything. Okay. So we can.
Can you show me where did you give your output directory? Because we are not running that way, right? Like we used to run
No,
our
no,
map reduce
no.
programs earlier.
Yeah, but because I've done some other examples where we can do it with local in path, right? Even we can write output, or we can practice more. What you can do is, we can run a Hive query that retrieve the data from a table and put into a file as well. Yeah, probably I just
Okay.
go through one more time. Probably everything, all the slides. It's there somewhere. I will cover that. But you can do it. What I'm trying to say? What you can do is, we can write a Hive statement that retrieves data from a Hive table and copy it into your Hive local directory.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got
clear?
it.
Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So, any questions? Let me complete this one as well. Right? Just this might be. Add jar file in Hive prompt, right? You can verify whether jar added by list jar, list jar whatever, right? And then create temporary function. Okay. Use function name when writing HiveQL functions, HiveQL queries. Right? And let me go through the slides again. And what I have to cover is basically Hive Server 2 and complex data types in Hive, demo of complex data types in Hive, and also buckets, right? I will record that. Apart from that, probably we'll go through everything and check anything you have missed. Yeah, probably you can practice this list all databases, show databases, list tables, show table. That's what I'm doing it. You can say show tables in database name as well. You can use a wildcard characters, show tables, whatever star, describe table I've used it, and show partitions. Even you can try this. It will show all the partitions. Right, loading data from a file to a table, right? Please try using HDFS as well. When you are loading the file from HDFS, we have to use load data without local. That's the only difference. And we have covered overwrite, otherwise it will be keep appending. Right, it's also covered load data in path. And this is basically data in path is when your file is located in HDFS. Insert into covered. Okay. That's what this is what I'm. This is something we have not covered, but definitely we can do it on our own. Basically, what you're doing is insert override directory. It's other way around. What you are doing is you are getting the data from a Hive table and storing the output into a table, right? And in this case, right, this is what I'm talking about. I've used here local directory. Unfortunately, I've mentioned my local directory as home HD user. So it retrieved data from my table and deleted the directory completely and put the output of the that select statement into the directory. So it's completely spoiled my thing, right? This is basically not covered, but you can do it on your own. So can you do it or want me to cover? Yeah, Aparna Sampath Srinivas. Sorry, you're in mute, I think.
Uh,
You got this one? This is what I'm talking,
we can try it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you can try that.
We'll try Venkat.
But I think, it is very simple, Aparna. It's up to you. Basically, what you're doing is from a file, you're getting into a directory. Yeah. And even we have not covered all the SQL queries. I think we can try it. Probably you can spend time elsewhere other this thing, union all group by having, right? So all you can try it, Hive inner joins, Hive outer joins. It supports similar to SQL, everything like SQL, right? You can try all those things. So again, you want me to cover? I will cover. Otherwise, probably you can record this as well. It's up to you. But I think it's pretty straightforward, right? Sampath Srinivas, Saparna, is it fine? You can practice all these things?
Yes, Venkat.
Yeah. Hive partitions, we have covered Hive partitions. Hive buckets, I will record it and send the link. Again, complex data types, you have covered the theory. Again, the buckets have covered the theory. I will record the demo of Hive buckets as well as Hive complex data types in two different demos. I want to keep it as small as possible also. And all this will be covered. Multi-table insert, we have covered it. Create table with select UDFs. Now I will again probably some other UDFs I will record. Hive and Hive server 2 is also very important. Probably we'll cover it in next week. Right? Any questions? Probably any questions, Aparna Sampath Srinivas?
Good as of now.
Okay, let me go through that important config files I've mentioned. I will go through some important config files. Probably anyhow, you have 10 minutes time. Probably let me go through those files. Let me come out of this, exit, even stop it. Yeah, probably you can go through the complete list. So many arguments, right? Probably will cover some of the important ones. And if you remember, no, the different ways to install this, and one is probably embedded Metastore, local Metastore, remote Metastore. So yeah, this is the probably the task of the admin, but you should know the important configurations. So what I've installed is embedded Metastore. So somewhere you should mention within Hive config files. Now let me show that. There will be, let's say, so basically what first we should have the database, right? This is what was saying. Use the Derby database. Now, if at all you want to use your own MySQL database, right? You can use any SQL data or DBMS database as well. But by default, it comes with Derby. So that's to keep it as is. So we can change, we can install MySQL, and we can change the connection settings as well as the driver name, right? Not just change the database will work. We have to say what is the driver we have to use to connect to the database also we have to mention. If at all you want to get rid of this Derby and want to store within your own MySQL database, basically we have to change these properties. What's the your relational database where you want to store the data, and the driver you have to use to connect to the database. So these are the one important. And other thing is Hive warehouse directory.
So Venkat,
Yes. Yes.
so Venkat, I have a question.
Yes.
So this database, like if apart from Derby, if you are using any other database, right?
Yes.
So that database will be outside, right? Somewhere installed in our laptop or somewhere, right?
No, no, no. To make it centralized, probably you can install within the cluster. Right? It's there's so many different installations, right? When you are installing locally, right? Local machine, right? You can install MySQL and change the configurations, right? Here to point to this MySQL database. This is one way of doing it. then you have your own Metastore if you install in the client location, client machine, right? And if your MySQL is located in the cluster, right, it's basically shared for different users. So you don't have Metastore just for your own purpose. Probably if you have a centralized storage, all users will use the centralized meta RDBMS that stores your metadata. It's up to how you configure it. Is it clear what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, means locally I can install it in my laptop. That's what also you are saying, like that we can
Yes.
install database locally in a laptop and we can give the connection details there.
Yes, correct. No, you can install MySQL locally and store your metadata into MySQL database. Right? That's also other option. The option number 3, probably what you can do is, other option is your MySQL, right, can be a centralized store, right? All Hive users will use that centralized store, but also can be done. It's more of a DBA task. You know what I'm trying to say? Because then if you install your own Hive and if you have your own dedicated MySQL database, then whatever the tables you are creating, only your tables will be stored in your MySQL database. If at all we want to have a centralized storage for all the Hive users, right, within your project, then you can store these metadata into a centralized location. That also can be done. Clear? Yeah, Aparna, have you got it?
Yeah,
Yeah. And the default one is Derby it uses, right? It's where you are installing the HiveQL in the same machine, even your metadata will be stored, right? We can change these configurations, but this is more of a DBA task. You can change this configuration, but you should, as a developer, should know these things, right? And the other thing is warehouse directory. So the warehouse root directory for the Metastore, right? Warehouse user Hive warehouse directory, right? If you see all our databases tables, then you have two, I think, Hive, yes, user Hive warehouse. User Hive warehouse. I think I've stopped my Hadoop daemons, otherwise I will not show you, but I think I've covered before. So whenever we are creating our database, whenever you're creating our tables and inserting the data, everything is going to this folder, user Hive warehouse. Under this, for each database, it's creating a folder, database name, and each table it does create a one directory, right? And these are the important public configurations as a developer you should know, no? But even these installation modes, whatever, that's basically, should know there are different types of installations you can do in Hive. These are the most important configuration files. So any questions, anybody? Hi Sampath, Aparna.
No, Venkat.
Yeah,
No, Venkat. From my side, I'm good.
okay. Srinivas, I think Srinivas' problem is still there, is it? He's not able to speak.
Srinivas, there? You there? Oh,
It's clear, Venkat.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, thanks. So probably if you don't have any question, probably we'll end here. And please practice. I think you have so many things you have covered. I think you have to practice. Right? And tomorrow everybody will be available, right?
yes, Venkat, I am there.
So no,
yeah, ma'am, there, Venkat.
okay, but will you prefer the online or definitely we will meet on Thursday because it's a long time. But for tomorrow, if you want the online class, I'm still fine with that.
Shall we let you know, Venkat, that?
Okay. But Aparna, what time you are coming back to Hyderabad?
So I today came back, Venkat. And now today itself I came back.
Okay, then probably you will have a classroom probably tomorrow class.
Yeah, that will be
Yeah,
good, Venkat. That's why that will come to me.
yeah, and probably you have so many things to practice. I think you have to practice.
Okay.
So tomorrow
And
we are having a classroom, right?
yes, yes, you are having a class. Probably we'll meet in the classroom one, not online.
At
Okay,
same
it's
time,
7 o'clock,
7,
right?
Our time 7 o'clock, 6:45, right? You are late. It's not
6:45.
Yeah,
7, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
6:45.
so many things to cover. Probably because again I'm going out this weekend. So first, second, third. So we should have a class tomorrow, day after. So cover as much as possible.
Okay.
And please inform Shiva as well. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Tomorrow's class. Yeah, we'll meet at
Yeah,
6:45 tomorrow.
sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah.